welcome back. Painting with Harold, and still got the same 16 by 20 canvas that's turned on landscape. Still got the same little painting we've been working on. We done us a cloud video, we done a mountain video, so now I guess we could call this one a middle ground and foreground video. I think we'll go ahead and finish this painting up. I thought what we would do is bring us in a line of trees and maybe break some trees down on the side and kick us out a couple little banks. Just pretty much a typical Bob Ross painting. And what I've got out now is, starting over here, I've got my titanium white, Prussian blue, Mountain Mix, Midnight Black, Alizarin Crimson, Dark Sienna, Van Dyke Brown, Sap Green, Cad Yellow, Yellow Ochre, Indian Yellow, and of course the Evil Bright Red. And I think the first thing I'm going to do before I get started do anything else is, when I sit down here I got to looking at this, and this is awful dark. So the first thing I'm going to do is take just a little bit of titanium white and a little bit of the Prussian blue. I'm going to mix me up a color here. I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to go ahead and go back in here and finish this. Or better yet, I'm just going to go in here and touch this up and make that shadow a little more prominent where you can see it. Because it kind of just looks like we forgot to do it a while ago. And I know we didn't forget to. We just didn't, I just didn't put enough blue in it to make it stand out. But we got it in there now, and that's all that matters. Alright. Now I thought about what kind of trees to do, and since everything else in this video has been about keeping it simple, basically, is we're just going to do those little tappy trees that you always do at the bottom. And to do that, I'm going to go right into Mountain Mixture. And I'm going to load the fan brush just by pulling it through the color like we always do. And this is the big number 6 fan brush. I'm just pulling it right through the color on both sides. And we'll come right up to the canvas. And I'll start right here in the middle. Because remember, we want to keep our mist. We just want to come in here and just tap us on some, just tap. That's all we're doing, tapping down. And just come in here and make you some tap marks. Just all sort of heights. You can come up into the mist in a couple places, but then in a couple places you don't want to, because you don't want to cover all your mist up, because it's real easy to do. Once you get to doing something that goes to feeling good, it's real easy to cover it up. We've all done it. Alright, just like that. Come back across. Now we're just filling in all the gaps. just like so. Just like that. Just fill it in all the way across the bottom. You kind of want you kind of want them even across the bottom. I mean, and it don't really matter if they're not, but it's better if they are, really, because when you go to, we're going to pull down the reflection here in a second, and if the reflection is kind of even, it just makes it a little easier when you go to pull it down. Then we'll come out here and run this off a little further, about like so. And we'll bring a couple more on this side, about like so. And you can see how you got that mist in the background, and it just gives that a whole different look across there. Then you want to come up and with a 2-inch brush, you want to come up and just very lightly pull this color down, and kind of like in a straight line all the way across here. Just pull this color straight down, trying to keep it in the same, about the same height as your trees above it. Just pulling it straight down. That's all we're doing. Just a real light pull. I don't know if you've seen the interview that I did with Gabby the painter. She posted, well, I posted it on my channel. She asked me during that interview, was there one thing when I first started painting that I found really easy? And I told her color mixture, but then I said pulling reflections. You know, is that not easy? And that's what I'm talking about. This right here. This is, I mean, this is so easy. Because all you do is just very lightly pull straight down, and just like it, you have instant reflections in the water. Knock a little paint out, come back up, and just very lightly come across your reflections here. Just very lightly. And just like it, you have instant reflections. Then you can take your knife, get your little white on it. You come up here and do your water lines. And the most important thing when you're doing water lines is to keep that knife level. No matter which direction your water's going in, always keep your knife level. And just rub you in a water line. Almost like you're trying to cut a hole in this canvas. Just like so. Just like that, you get you a nice little water line. You can take and put just a little more on if you want to, and come up here and give yourself a couple little ripples here and there. You don't have to do many to really be effective. Just put yourself a couple out through here. My wife was just on the phone a few minutes ago with some friends, our friend, a good friend of ours, and she said that she had just seen the first hummingbird of the year. I thought that was pretty neat. hopefully I'll get some good pictures this year and get time to sit down and paint one. Alright, now I'm going to come up to these trees right here, and I got just a little raggedy 1-inch brush, and I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to pull just very lightly straight up on these, and that's going to give me a kind of a, just, it's going to lighten it up a little, not much, but it'll pull some of them up to a better point. They'll have a lot straighter point on them. And the one thing you want to keep in mind when you're doing this is just don't come in there and touch your water line, because it's hard to. And if you do touch it, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You ain't gonna go to jail or nothing. It's just hard to sometimes to not touch it. So, all right, then we'll knock the paint out of that. That didn't really get enough paint in to worry about. All right. Now we want to put us in some trees on the side, and I guess kind of figure out what we want to do once we do that. I don't think I really want no evergreens in this one. I really don't. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to mix us up a color here. Alright, let me get my board up. Alright, this is the rest of our mountain mix. We don't have a lot left. I didn't put a lot of paint out. But we're going to take what we got. And we're going to take a little of Stalo blue. I mean Prussian blue, I'm sorry. And we're going to take this midnight black. Didn't put a lot of it out either. Then we're going to take some of the sap green. We'll bring it up here. And some of the Van Dyke brown. It won't take much Van Dyke brown because these other colors are all dark. Then we'll bring all these colors together right here on my palette, and I'm going to mix them pretty good. They're not going to be marbly. They're going to be, this is just going to make one big dark color. And if you want to, since we did put that green in it, you can come back and steal you a little of the alizarin crimson and put in it. Because alizarin crimson and sap green make brown together. So with all those dark colors and adding that, it'll just get a little bit darker. Now it should still have a little bit of a green hue to it, but it'll be very, very faint green. You won't see much. And then we're going to smear as much of this paint off as we can get. What we're looking for here really is just a good dark color. That's all we really want. Because we're fixing to come in and tap us on some trees. Now, what I thought about doing, or what I thought we could do, is maybe make us this side, make us a tree that, you know, not quite as tall, and come down and come all the way across, stop it, you know, a little ways. Do the same thing on this side, come through this little cloud, and maybe if not the same height as our mountain, maybe just a little taller or a little less, as long as it's not too distracting to the eye, and come down and bring it almost all the way across. And then right under the bottom here, we'll bring in a little bit of grass, and we'll make that grass look like it comes out like you could just walk down to the water. We're going to shoot for that. What we end up with, I don't have a clue. So We'll try, see what we get. All right, and with that said, I'm gonna get my big 1-inch round, and this is what they call the foliage brush, and it's the big one, as you can see. And I'm gonna go. All right, let me show you how we're gonna load this brush. This brush is shaped kind of funny, kind of oval. But we're going to take one corner of it and pull some color down and just kind of tap that corner. And you can see how there's more paint. Let me get this laid down where you can see it. So there's more paint at the top of the round part, the oval part, than is the bottom. So we put a lot more tension on what I'm going to call a corner. I know it sounds kind of funny calling a round thing a corner, but that's basically what it is. Alright. I don't want to kill this cloud because that was a pretty cloud. But what we'll do is we'll come in here just like so. And we'll start creating us a tree shape. Now, every time I load this brush, I'm going to load it the same way. I'm not going to do anything different. And if I do, I'll be sure to pick up the canvas and show you, or the palette. I'm sorry. Just like that, we're just going to pull it down. Now, whenever you're doing a tree like this, you always know that down here somewhere you're going to have to stop and bring you a trunk up and all that. But knowing that, you also at the same point don't want to kill all your dark colors when you go to highlighting. So what you want to do is just kind of narrow it up some right in here. And just start getting ready to come out that way with it. Because you can always turn this other stuff into background material or bushes or whatever. But just like that, just leave this spot down here where we was talking about making grass, and just kind of turn under your reflection here, and then just bring you down some different height bushes, just like so. And I brought that down, see, kind of at an angle there. And then over here on some of it, you can vary the heights. About like that, that's all we're looking for. About like that. And we left some loose in here. And see, when we come back to do our highlights now, this is just going to look like another bush that's growing in front of that tree right there. So it'll come together. You'll see what I mean here in a second. All right, then over here on this side, we'll do the same thing. I'm gonna come up just a little taller than the actual. And then I won't kill all of that cloud. And we'll kick this around. That little cloud right there, it didn't look as good as that one. But we still gonna leave enough of it. You'll see that it's a cloud that went behind the mountain there. And we'll just bring this down, keeping that bush shape. I mean that tree shape, just to let us know it is a tree. And then when we get down to about where our reflection is, we'll just start working it, kind of working it up. Just make sure you keep while you're coming down, make sure you keep your bush shape straight up, because you don't want a bush growing this way. Make sure they all maintain a straightness here. Bring it down. I'd say about right there. That should be plenty. And then just kind of come back up here to the angle and work it in. About like so. That's all we need. Because all of this under here, we're gonna work it in when we do our grass. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't matter. Let me show you. It wouldn't matter if you went ahead and filled all this in. It wouldn't matter a bit. Because when we come back to do our grass, we're going to be doing it with a highlight color. So it's not going to affect us in any kind of way. Matter of fact, it may even help give us a darker color. Because the closer you get to your foreground, you want a darker color in it anyway. So, but just like that. That's all we need. Just close it all in. Alright, I'm going to knock as much of this color out as I can before I carry it to the thinner bucket. Because that's a lot of dark. A lot of dark. Alright, I'm going to pick up my script liner. And I am going to soak it in the thinner. Bring it right into that same color. I want it good and thin. That way we can roll that brush around in that paint and just get it full of paint. Then we want to come up here, pull it through our tree, like so. Like so. Alright, we'll pick us up a little more, thinner. And we'll come on this side and give this little tree some arms. Just like so. And we'll come down in here and give some of our bushes some sticks and twigs. You don't have to put many, but you know, just some here and there. Most of them will get covered up anyway, but what we do get to see, we'll be happy we did it. If we want an old dead one sticking up out of the painting somewhere, we can come in here and just bring us one up that kind of twists and turns and just does whatever. You bring him in some. Bring him in some arms and like so. Just like that. And we will wash our script liner brush now. And we shouldn't need him again for a little bit. Unless we decide we want to sign this thing if it works out that way. When we get through, we may not want to even think about siding it. You never know, because it's not finished yet. All right. Now I am going to, if I can find it, I'm going to use my little 1-inch oval brush. Well, it's not actually oval, but they call it the oval. It's the oval bristle. Usually have a black handle. Mine has a white handle. Don't know why, but it does. Alright, I'm going to dip it right in a little thinner. Not much at all, just a little. And I'm going to knock that off. And I'm going to come into my yellow, my cad yellow. I'm just tapping it in. Coming to the sap green a little. Well, I'll tell you what, somebody might not have seen me do this in that one video. So let me show you how we do this. When you bring that green in and you bring it into your yellow and you go to mixing it on the brush, before you come up to touch the canvas, push, let it brush down flat and push it. Can you see that? You just want to push it, and it'll push up that little ridge of paint. And that little ridge of paint now is on the brush. So when we come up to do our highlight, we come up here and touch very lightly. It'll start putting the highlight on the. That paint just comes off easier when it's got that little ridge there. And then around here you wanna just very lightly touch. But now keep in mind that you got a dark color on here that's got some blacks in it. So as it picks that color up, it's gonna wanna turn your yellow a darker green. So keep that in mind while you're doing this. Then around on this side, it's a little lighter. And while you're doing this, also keep in mind, you do not want to kill all the dark. Just when you go back to load the brush, load it the same way every time. Push that little ridge of paint up and just lightly tap. And what this will do is, it's actually giving us a difference in color here and there, and I'm liking that. It's kind of neat the way it's doing that. It's giving us some dark and some light. Alright, just come in here and just touch around, giving yourself that little shape of roundness, because don't forget, your tree's round. And then the further you come down, the more it's going to pick up that dark, and just let it disappear in the dark. And just like that, you've made a little tree. Alright, can you see that real good? Because I forgot to turn that light on. Let me see if I can get this light adjusted. I know it's going to go bright at first. Oof. Boy, that got real bright. Alright, let's turn that one down a little bit. Maybe not that one. Maybe this one. Turn it down a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. I like that. I'm looking at a little monitor over here, and that looks fairly decent. Alright, now we're going to go into the yellow and the yellow ochre and the Indian yellow. All these colors right on the brush, just mix them together. It's got that little bit of green in it. Just mix these colors all together. The same way. Loading that brush the same way. Alright, then we'll come right in here, giving ourselves that dark color. Because remember, you don't ever want to kill all your dark. And then that difference in color right there, that's going to act as your separator. And just give yourself that roundness, just to maintain that bush shape. Because that's all we're looking for right now. Just that little bush shape. Then if you want to go over here to the next one beside it, you can come in here and pick you up just a hair of the bright red. And slowly tap it on the brush. That first right there is going to give you an orangeness. And that's a real pretty color. That color turned out real pretty. Let's see. We can bring a little more green in. And a little bit more cad yellow. That'll give us a little bit darker green color. Just a little. With the yellow in it. Just like so. And we can pick us up a little Prussian blue. I know what you're thinking. Prussian blue? Yeah. Because we got all these yellows in here, that Prussian blue is going to react to it. And it'll give us a totally different green. It'll be a dark green. So we may have to add a little white to it. But we can do that. Add a little white to it. And we'll get a whole new color green altogether right there. One that just kind of looks like it's sitting out in the sunlight. About like so. That's all we need. And let's see. I'm going to go back into the yellow again. We'll give ourselves some dark here. We'll drop down a little bit because we don't want to we don't want to kill all our dark. So I'll drop down and then I'll pick up a little more of the yellow ochre. And I'll come right here beside it. Just like so. Just being careful not to kill all the dark. Then I'll pick up a little of the alizarin crimson and bring it up here into the color. That'll give us another little color change here. And tap it on just like so. And bring it out. Now we got us a little area here we can use now for our grass that we're gonna do that we talked about. All right, so let's come over here to this tree now. And for that tree, we'll start with the alizarin crimson since it's already on here. And I'm just gonna tap out right now. I'm gonna tap just that alizarin crimson and let all of these colors just roll out of the brush right there into that pile. And let me show you what it looks like when it does that, because that's something I don't think I've ever showed. See, you know, the more you just sit there and tap, see how it's turning all different colors. We'll bring a little more in. And you see it's kind of trying to brown down a little bit. We'll go over here We'll still us a little of the white. We'll bring that white in and tap it in. And all that's going to do is brighten it up a little. And the color we're going to end up with is going to be kinda red. But it's not going to be real bright red. It's going to be more of almost a peachy color. But you just want to tap. You don't want a whole lot of mud on your brush. So when you come up here and go to tapping on your highlights, it'll look like a big old chunk of mud up here. Because it's just a real light touch. Just a real light touch. Even when you load it, kind of just load it with a real light touch. And just be careful with your shape up here. Just try to maintain as much of a tree shape as you can. And at the same time, you know, try to leave yourself enough dark that you can see through the tree in places. Because it's important that you can see the dark on the other side sometimes too. Because that looks like, it just looks like you got limbs on the other side going out from the tree. And it'll give you a 3D effect. And anytime you can achieve a 3D effect, it gives you depth. Dark shadow colors it'll just add so much dimension and stuff to your painting. It'll just bring it to life. But you can see that peach color it just stands out. It's such a pretty color. It's different, you know. I like using it myself. A lot of people don't, but I do. Alright, just like that, we got us a tree. Then we'll come back into our yellow colors, yellow ochre and the Indian yellow. All right. Check your bristles, because you always want to make sure your bristles are open. If your bristles start clogging up on you, take it and just jab that brush straight down, and then come back and get your shape. Don't ever let your bristles clog up on you and get too much paint in it. I mean, if you have to, stop and brush it off on something, because if you get clogged up bristles, you're gonna get funny looking little shapes when you come up here and touch. They're not gonna look like leaves. They'll just look like big old blobs of color. So you want to maintain the open bristle. I don't know that I've ever said that before, but you do. Alright, we'll pick us up. I don't know if I've ever done this either, but we're going to pick up a little dark sienna. I'm going to show you a trick here. I know what you're thinking. Dark sienna? And what dark sienna will do with all these colors, if we mix it with some white, it'll give us because we can bring in just a little bit of the sap green. We don't want much green in it. But this dark sienna, this white and this green will give us a color that it'll have just a little bit of I don't know what the word I'm looking for here is. It'll give you a almost a wood look, kind of like it's just now starting to bloom, so to speak, or just now starting to die. And you'd have to actually see this painting to see the effect that this has. If you don't overmix this paint, because it's such a it's a weird effect. In fact, I'm gonna have to knock the paint, a little paint out of my brush now to get away from that effect, because I don't want it. I don't want all of them to look that way. But it's just so effective at times, the way it does. All right, now I am going to take a little bit of my red, and I'm going to go into my white, and that's going to give me a pink looking color, but it's not pink I'm looking for. So when I get that pink color, I'm going to come back down here, and I'm going to touch that pink color into my Indian yellow. And the color I'm looking for is it's going to be like a sunshine color with a little reddish hue to it. You just want to make sure that your bristles don't clog up. Keep your bristles open whenever you're doing this kind of painting. Just touching. Because see how open that makes that brush? The effect it gives you is just, I mean, it's unbelievable, the effect it'll give you. And we'll come down here about like so. Just making sure to leave enough dark in there to where we can tell what we got. About like so. Then I'm going to tap into straight bright red. Just straight bright red. And I'm just going to put a firecracker in here. Look at that. Oh, isn't that pretty? Wow. I like so. That is gorgeous. Alright, and to that color, I want to add a little yellow ochre. Just a little, not much at all. Alright, let's tap open our bristles. Because this paint's so loaded with, I mean, this brush is so loaded with paint, it's trying so hard to clog up. You just have to be careful and not let it. And about like so. That actually turned out to be a pretty color right there too. Alright. I'm going to bring this one down just a little under that red one. About like that. I like that better. And we left ourselves enough dark that we can tell what we got going on. That brought our little dead tree out, which I see right here when we get our filbert brush back out. I mean, our script liner, we're going to have to make that one a little longer, because it's just making the tree look off balance to me. I don't like the way that looks, so we'll fix that. Alright, now I'm going to pick up a 1-inch brush, and, well, let me show you. You can see how contaminated the yellow is. The yellow's got all that green and stuff in it. So before we go into that, well, let's do it this way. I'm going to come into the green first. Just the green. And pull it down and tap it. And tap it. And push up. Lay it flat and push up. See that little ridge? That little ridge is on the brush now. And we'll come under this color, and we're just going to tap this green on. Now I know it's not showing, but the reason it's not showing is because that's a dark color. Alright, and let's bring this across like so. Like that. And then we'll start working this green out. Just bring it in and then bring it out. We just want to keep working back wider as we come this way. And then when you come this way, drop down and bring it out wider. And just keep it all the way like that. And then come in here and tap you on some more. Just like so. And then back here, now you just basically filling it in. Just don't forget how we got this coming in here, because if you lose that shape, it's not gonna have that effect that we're going after. And just like that, we want that green all the way across. And the reason I'm still tapping is because I want the texture, because we're fixing to bring our highlight color in here. And for that, I'm gonna clean this brush. I guess I could have picked up another one that quick, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean it right quick, because I got all of them to clean anyway. Alright, and I'm gonna come straight into my yellow, and I'm gonna load it the same way. I'm gonna pull it through and then tap that little ridge, lay it down and push up the little ridge, and then come back up under here, leave myself a little dark. Gotta have that dark. Alright, just like so. And then bring it over a little bit. And then bring it over a little bit more, until it comes under there just enough that you can see your dark color. Now your highlight will go to picking up some of this green. And when that happens, don't fight it. Just know it's going to happen. Don't let it shock you when it does. And then bring your color out, just like so. Just remember to just keep tapping. Very light tap. That's all this is. And once you start getting back in here, just remember, you don't want to kill all the dark. Just keep this color tapped on your brush. Just very gently tap. Now if you leave some dark color, while you're highlighting in the grassy areas, that's fine too. That's nothing to worry about. In fact, it'll give the grass a little depth. And anytime you can add depth to any part of your painting, you've done a good thing. Because all these are is optical illusions. That's all it is. You're trying to trick the viewer's eye. And if a viewer sees this thing from far off and something catches his eye, he's going to walk up close to it. And he's going to go to looking at it. And that's what you want. You want it to be attractive at a far off distance, so it'll attract a viewer, pull them into it. Because if they look over and they see something ugly hanging on the wall from across the room, well, they're not going to even come close to coming over there looking at it, it don't interest them. But now if it sheds a little interest on them, they're gonna come over there looking at it, see what you done. Oh my goodness. About like that right there is what we're looking for. Only thing I think we should do now is come up here and get a little of this white and tap it on and give ourselves a little sunlight here and there, like wherever we think the sun may hit. I don't think it's going to hit many places, but we'll add a little here and there. Maybe back in here just a little. About like so. And by adding that little bit of white right there for the sunlight, it'll make all them dark colors we got just zing. And about like that. Just kind of lightly tap them out a little bit. Maybe it'll hit just a little back here. Maybe a little back here, not much. I don't think it's going to be much back there. Okay. Now I'm going to take that script liner brush again. And I'm going to get it wet with the thinner. I'll bring it back up here in this color we made that little tree with. And I got to do something with this limb right here. I'm going to make it a little longer because it was just eating at me. I didn't like it. Then I'll bring out another one right there and one like that. Yeah, I like that better. Only thing, it's just not wanting to show real good up here. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Well, I think that'll show once it dries. Alright, then I'm going to work on this one right here a little. I'm going to bring it up. Bring it out. About like so. Yep, I like that better. It may need just a little bit of highlight running down this side. It shouldn't take much. Just to make it look like the sun's hitting it here and there. Just a little. And that whiteness may even add to it, to that dead look. And then we'll add just a little bit up here where this one is coming out. Right here. We'll add some right there. And we'll add some right here. As long as we don't rub it all out. We want to. And that kinda gave us that natural look. That little limb right there, it's really sitting out in the sun. It's really getting hit. There we go. There we go. Now, I like that way better. Way better. Okay. Then I'm going to pick up a little of that white and blue we made. And this is not going to take much at all. I'm going to bring it on this side here, just for a little bit of shadow. Just very little bit. Don't want much. Just for that reflective light. Because I'm going to come back up now, and I'm going to try to go back up here and wipe that off even. Because I just want a very little bit. Let it blend in with that other color if you can. I just want it to shine here and there. Like that. I don't want it to be definite. Alright. Then, I'm looking for some bright red. On the script liner. And I'm going to come right here. And I'm going to put my signature on it. And just like that, that painting is ready for a frame and a wall. And I want to thank y'all so much for joining me. Like I mentioned earlier, please pray for my state. There's a lot of people hurting here tonight, and will be for a while, because them tornadoes were pretty significant. They did a lot of damage. We have a little town called Rolling Fork that just about got wiped off the map. A lot of people lost their lives. It was terrible. We have another little town not far from where I live here called Amory. They got hit pretty hard. And, I mean, it did a lot of damage to a lot of places in the state. It split and went around us, north and south. We were fortunate in that aspect, but we wasn't. I don't want to say lucky, because the good Lord took care of that. We was blessed. I hate that anybody had to have problems, but that's out of our hands. So if you will, just pray for those people. I know it'll be much appreciated. I hope this painting here was as fun for y'all as it was for me to paint. I mean, I absolutely love this. This was, to me, it turned out great too. It's got some good colors. Alright. I think that's everything. I love you guys. God loves you more. Thank y'all again for joining me. And I'll be back if y'all keep watching. Have a blessed night.